name is Opeyemi Daniel Faleye. I'm 13 years old. I'm in GS1 and I'm a proud student of Boja International College. The name of my book is The Cruel Side of Love. Long ago, they lived a girl who risked it all for love. Let's find out if it's worth it. The 10th century, the great annual buffet, where hundreds of thousands of kings, queens, tax collectors, emperors and empresses would gather together for fine dining for hours. The great annual buffet was usually held at the great kingdom of Damiel, the biggest kingdom out of the 7 other kingdoms. The king of Damiel at the time was King Gaudin, and he had a beautiful daughter named Alidia. Most of the princes then wanted to marry her, but he didn't love any of them. One day, as she was going to the market, she stumbled upon a man named Patrick. Though she had just met him, he was the finest man she has ever seen. The next day marked the 8th year since her mom died in a boat-related accident, and she needed to think of an excuse to escape the palace to go and see him. So she told her father she was going to get flowers. When she saw him, she asked him for his name. When she went to the market and asked him for his name, she told him his name was Patrick. From there, a conversation started, and they started meeting day after day after day. After a entire year of heartfelt gestures and dates, she felt like it was finally time to tell her father, the king, which she loved dearly. When she told him, her father was not in approval of it because he was not a rich prince, and she needed to marry a rich prince so she can continue ruling Damiel. After some time, her father then agreed to it, and Patrick told her that within the next 2 to 8 years, he will save up so they can throw the biggest wedding of the decade. But Lydia told him not to worry, that they can just throw a simple party, and they were both so happy. On the day of their wedding, after the wedding was over, Patrick suggested they go to a hotel to go and rent, but Lydia told him not to worry, that they can go to her house. When he got there, his mouth dropped as he saw the palace. She was just so surprised that she was the princess of Damiel, and she told him that she would explain later, that they should just enjoy their wedding day. The next day, when she explained to him, he got angry and stormed out of the room because he gave up royalty to be with him. So when she tried to explain to him, he beat her seriously and then she fainted. When she woke up, she was inside the best hospital in the kingdom, and after some treatment and after some time, they confirmed she was pregnant. Few years passed and she was no longer royalty because her father's reign was over and there was nobody to continue his regime. So they were now in poverty, and they were in an old and dirty house. So her son Edward would go to the market and steal to eat and earn a living. So one day, Patrick saw how the house was dirty and how they had been eating the same food over and over again. So he got angry and beat both of them. The years passed, and Patrick felt ill from an infection and died. At the day of his funeral, not many people came, only his family, which is his mom, his father, his wife, and his child. They then insulted Edward and Lydia, saying that they ruined his life, that they gave up royalty and went into poverty. When Lydia and Edward, her son, got home, Edward asked her what they meant about royalty, that isn't the first time he's hearing about something like that. So then Lydia explained to him how she used to be royalty, but then gave it up. Edward was devastated and angry, and he stormed out of the room. Later that day, they came to tell Lydia that her uncle, who was currently ruling, just died, and she was surprised. On the day of the funeral, they all said their last words, that the coffin was burnt. Then her father, Aldrin, came to comfort her, though her son was absent. Then, eventually, when she got home, she saw royal guards holding her son, and they accused him of killing the current king, King Dartin, that they got him to confess that Lydia told him the story of how she gave up royalty. So then they carried him away, though he was crying, and they were trying to fight it, but there's nothing they could do. So they took him to jail. After a year of him being in jail, his mother was looking everywhere to try and find a lawyer to pledge for him, but she could not find, and she could no longer afford her apartment, so she moved back to her father's house. So when she got there, she saw some fruits and she wanted to eat it, but her father told her not to, that they were spoiled. Though she insisted that they were good, her father still threw it all away. So after an entire year, she was able to find a detective who would look into the case. Though the inmates that Edward was in told him that one of the warden liked him, but he denied it. So eventually the detective got permission to look into the case, and when he found out the case, he got permission to go into the throne room, and then he found a sample of tritidium, a poison that could kill somebody within minutes. Then through the scent, they traced it back with all the evidence to the fruit that Alden has thrown away, and then they arrested him for killing his brother. The reason he killed his brother was because when they were younger, his little brother asked why Alden has to rule the kingdom before him, and that made him despise writing. So that's when they disqualified him from ever ruling again, and they arrested him. Then eventually, when Edward was released, him, his mom, and the inmates that was in his cell with him started an army. So they went to conquer the 7 other kingdoms, merging it. His mom died in the process of war, but he told